I'm going to make, sorry everybody, I'm just making a homemade pizza over here. Let me show you. I made this homemade pizza and it looks just like a store-bought pizza, but it's homemade. Hey everybody, welcome back. Tonight for dinner we are going to be having simple calzones. So I'm just looking in my Martha Stewart baking handbook and I'm just going to make one of her pizza recipes in here, but I'm going to like actually triple it, and then I'll show you how I make that pizza dough and then how I make the calzones. But first I have to fill up my flour because it's almost empty. Since I'm tripling it, I'm using 3 cups of warm water. And then I'm going to be putting 3/4 teaspoon of sugar, and then I'm actually going to be using 2 envelopes of the, packets, whatever, of this yeast. Wait. Okay, 1 teaspoon actually. Yeah, so I'm just going to use 1 teaspoon of salt, 3/4 teaspoon of sugar, and then the 2 envelopes. Okay. And then I'm going to whisk it around and just let it sit for a few minutes until it's foamy, so we know that it is alive. Okay, so I let it sit there. So now I'm going to add anywhere, since I'm making so much, we'll see how many cups of flour I end up using, but at least possibly 7 plus, I'm not sure. And then I'm going to use like 3 to 4 tablespoons of olive oil too. So I'm going to actually add that. So 1, 2, 3, that's good. I'm going to start with a whisk and then end up with a wooden spoon because it's going to get hard to stir. Time to switch to a wooden spoon. That's, I think, is it 4 cups? Pretty sure that was 4 cups so far. 5, 6, I think. I'm just going to add as much, to the very point of not being sticky and knead it for several minutes. And then I'm going to oil the bowl and the dough, turn it around, put a towel on it, and probably put it by my door because it's a warm day so it can rise for a bit. This is the oil that I like to use from Aldi. It's my new favorite oil. EVOO, like Rachel Ray says. Now I'm going to cover it with a towel and find something to put it on so I can put it by the door. So it hasn't even been an hour, but I put this by the door because it's the warm air. But it's already ready. This is like, looks really good. So I'm going to start making my calzones now. And then I also need to shred my cheese. Now I'm only going to put cheese and pepperoni in the inside of it and seal them, and I'm going to have sauce on the outside so you can like dip them. I'm not putting sauce in the inside. The pepperoni. More pepperoni. Can you see what I'm saying? Yeah. Soft. It's very soft. I'm going to use a rolling pin so I can make little, I'm not sure how big the ball has to be right now, but now it's crumbling. I hate shredding mozzarella. It's like so crumbly, especially if you freeze it first. That's okay. So now I need to put my chair back so I can grab some sauce from the pantry. My dough just keeps rising. I haven't started it yet. I walked away for a little bit. It just keeps rising. Okay, so now I'm simply going to put tomato sauce in a bowl and put some oregano and garlic powder in it and mix it for my dip. So meanwhile, I have no idea if you can see me or not. I have one tray ready to go in the oven. I have my oven preheated to 400. I'm not really following a recipe for this part of it. I'm guessing like we normally make our homemade pizzas. So I'm gonna watch it, but meanwhile, I'm just gonna keep making calzones, and I think I'm gonna make a little regular pizza for my son as well. So I'm wondering if I might have to, not have to, but get to freeze some of this, which will be good because it'll be ready next time. And if I have flour on my face, sorry, I have no idea. Anyway, yeah, so preheat your oven to 400. That's what I'm doing. I have enough dough, so I'm making, oh my gosh, what happened to my voice? I have enough dough, so I'm making a whole pizza, this cheese pizza. so much. This is like so melty.
But we'll show you it.
So today's dinner is going to be chicken pot pie. So first we're starting, we have a cookbook and we're making the pie crust first. So how many cups is this? 4? Okay, so 4 cups of flour. So the next thing to put in is 1 tablespoon of sugar and 2 teaspoons of salt. So next you're supposed to cut in the fat, which is 1 3/4 cup. So we are using, it's approximately half-ish. This is shortening. And then sticks of butter. So for this recipe, 1 egg is added and a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. Okay, so the recipe calls for like a 1/2 cup of cold ice water, so just going to add a little bit at a time until it holds together. Because obviously with pie dough, you're not supposed to knead it or like overwork it, so you want to add just enough. But it has to be ice cold water. So we have some of these pieces of boneless, skinless chicken to be cut up for the chicken pot pie. So I don't know if you can see me or not. This is the book that we are using. So next we are going to be using 2 cups of mixed vegetables. I just have the frozen bags of vegetables from Walmart. It calls for diced onion, but we're not having that. So 3 tablespoons butter, 2 tablespoons flour, and 1 cup of milk and salt and pepper. Coming over to the stove to do that now. And whatever amounts I just read, we are actually doubling it, so everything times 2. So I think we are actually using, since we're running out of butter, I'm going to use half butter, half coconut oil to start making the cream sauce. So that was 3 tablespoons of butter, 3 tablespoons of coconut oil. How many tablespoons of flour? 4 tablespoons of flour, and now we're pouring in, how many cups? 2 cups of milk. And we just made this milk with the powdered milk to save our regular milk. It works good for cooking and baking, but I wouldn't drink it. It tastes pretty gross. And it says to bring the milk and all this mixture to a simmer, and then it will thicken as it cools off too. As it cooks. I said cools off. Did I say that seriously? It will thicken as it cooks, not cools. I was like, that's not right. So the sauce mixture is sitting on the stove while the pie dough is being rolled out to be put on the pie pan. Is it pie pan? Yeah, pie pan. So in this one pie pan, it is 2 cups of chicken and 2 cups of the mixed vegetables. So meanwhile, have your oven preheated to 375.
What kind of shapes should I make? I was gonna do like cinnamon sugar, so just because there's extra.
Shape? What do you mean shape?
Like just like lines.
Yeah. And this is a cinnamon sugar mixture. Homemade.
It's just
And then we have the top oven preheated to 350 for these, while the chicken pot pies bake in the other one. So I'm going to be making chili, but I have these red beans I'm going to be cooking. So I get out my book to follow the directions on how to cook these beans, which is really simple. So that's what I'm going to do now. This is the book I'm using. So anyway, I'm cooking some red beans for my chili. And all I have to do is, I'm going to rinse them first, and then I'm going to put them in a little pot with cold water, boil them, and then turn it off. I'm going to let them soak covered for an hour. That's what I'm going to do first. I'm just using the whole bag because it was too close to what I wanted to use to have just a little bit left over, so that wouldn't have made sense. Okay, so it is boiling, so I'm just going to turn it off, put the lid on it, and then let them soak for an hour. So my beans have been soaking for over an hour now, so I'm just going to drain them and rinse them. What I'm going to do is pour them in my pot, fill it with water, boil it. When it comes to boil, then I'm going to simmer it for, I don't know, we'll just start checking it at 30 minutes. Which in my experience, it's been way longer than that. Okay, so now I'm going to make,
Sorry everybody, I'm just making a homemade pizza over here. Let me show you. I made this homemade pizza and it looks just like a store-bought pizza, but it's homemade.
So before I can't make the rest of the chili until the beans are completely done. So I'm going to be making cornbread. So I'm going to need flour, sugar, baking powder, salt, cornmeal, milk, and an egg. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm using another one of the Martha Stewart books, which is, I don't like book covers, but this is the one I'm using. So that is what I'm going to do. Okay, so I need 1 cup of flour. 1/3 cup of sugar. And 2 teaspoons baking powder and 3/4 teaspoon salt. Baking powder. And then I'm going to whisk that up. Okay, so next I need to put a cup of cornmeal. This says pancake mix. That's not true. So we need a cup of that. And it just says stir it in. And using a pastry blender, you're supposed to cut the shortening into the mixture until it resembles a coarse meal. So you need 1/3 of a cup of shortening. And that's what you're going to cut into the mixture. And then you're going to use that to grease what you're going to bake it into. So I need another one of those. Okay, so next, I just made you need a cup of milk. I just made I know you probably can't even see my face, but
You're like right.
From powdered milk. I just made a cup of milk. So then you add a cup of milk and an egg, and then you stir just to combine. I can stand it normal now. Maddie, you look like a weirdo. Are you supposed to actually look like a lumberjack? That's weird. Are you supposed to actually look like a lumberjack? Okay, now I need to grease my dish to pour this in. Oven preheated 425. Okay, so I'm putting this in my preheated 425 degree oven for, it says approximately 18 to 20 minutes, so that's what we will do.